All right, this meeting of April 10, 2019 will now be called to order. Well, we go first to public comment. I'd like to say first that I received a letter, we've received a letter and a follow-up phone call from Controller Rhynhart. We spoke briefly this morning, and she indicated that she would be here, so she's welcome. I indicated at that time that I did not want to get involved in any discussions, but of course, we welcome your comments. I will ask everyone to please limit their comments to 2 minutes. All right? And with that, who's first, please?
My name is James Marsh. I'm with the Protective Road Coalition, and I just wanted to make several comments. First, we know that we have commented in the past that in the course of this selection, the best value guidelines that are required for the procurement in our position have not been followed whatsoever, especially regarding the transparency requirements in sections 1, 2, and 6, and specifically all stakeholders are to have their feedback incorporated. That's section 2, paragraph 2. So we had mentioned this before in our positions that since it's not followed within the contract, the selection is null and void from the beginning, and it's not effective. Now, interestingly, Allegheny County has just started their process. That is, the Allegheny County process is the universe that we should be in and that we could be in. They have a whole website specifically with tons and tons of information on their selection process, the committee members, who is involved, the time frame of the process. They have links to the proposed selection schemes. They have a link to the RFP, and they actually have a way that you can sign up to get alerts. The public can sign up to get alerts on how the process is going. And so their website is AlleghenyCounty.us/elections. And my point is that what we are proposing and the time frame that Allegheny County is using and what we are proposing, this is how it should look. This is what the best value guidelines should look like in terms of transparency. This whole website opens up to the public. So this is what our position is, not some outlandish thing. Allegheny County, Pittsburgh, is outdoing Philadelphia. We're coming in second in Pittsburgh, so we should be doing what Allegheny County is doing, and that is what the best value guidelines do. So we do our position. Thank you.
I like Allegheny County.
My parents are actually from Western Pennsylvania, so I have nothing against it.
My name is Skoglund from Citizens for Better Elections, a member of the Protect Our Vote Coalition. Commissioner and judges, I know you didn't ask for this. If I were in your shoes, I would be reluctant to overturn decisions and create more work for myself. I think everyone in this room would agree that we don't want to be in this position. Yet here we are. And the problem is real and not getting any better by waiting. We've shown that the RFP was biased, that best value rules were violated, and that the votes cast by candidates for office are legally invalid. We've explained the many reasons why the selected system is not a good choice. We've demonstrated that the current plan does not have enough funding to succeed. The city controller is here today to speak to you, and the state auditor general has said that he has serious concerns about it. There are 2 points that I want you to hear today. One, the clock is running out. The commissioners wanted 8 months to implement a plan. 2 months have passed, and the budget, which is required for funding, won't pass for another 2 to 3 months. That leaves only 4 months until November 2019, and only 9 months until April 2020. Number 2, the stakes are very high. Pennsylvania has 8 million registered voters. 1 million are in Philadelphia. We're talking about 1/8 of the votes in a swing state in a presidential year. It's not an exaggeration to say that this decision impacts every American. The question is, will 1 million Philadelphia voters be able to vote on election day? And will there be a paper record of those votes that can be recounted? And at this moment, we do not know. We have 3 months to pull a workable plan together. There is a path out of this mess. Here it is, step by step. The first step is today to vote to rescind the selection and to nullify the RFP. It is the first step to fixing this. Number 2, this week, schedule a public voting system demonstration. You have staff that can do this. Delaware County just approved a voting system demo for the public in June, and Allegheny's planning to have one in June or July. Collect public feedback, as Allegheny's doing. Then next week, begin writing a new unbiased RFP. You have an existing RFP. It's the criteria that's the problem. Other counties can also provide ideas. Montgomery County, Allegheny County, Lehigh, and the Department of State is also a good resource. And we have lots of experts who can help advise you. This month, issue the RFP with the deadline of May 31st. 1 month is what vendors had to respond last time, so that's reasonable. Now there's more certified systems available than last time. There's a total of 5. By July, make a selection. The last RFP process was 10 weeks long and stretched over Christmas, so it's totally reasonable. If we take from April 30th plus 10 weeks, that's July 10th. By then, the budget will be passed and we'll have funding. And then in November 2019 or April 2020, you can launch. Commissioner Ely said that July was enough time for an April 2020 rollout. Maybe November 2019 is possible. Montgomery County did it in 5 months. Maybe 4 months is still possible. Virginia, some counties implemented theirs in 1 month. Those are the steps towards a plan that works. I hope you'll gather your courage and take a stand for the 1 million citizens who are counting on you. I hope that today you will make a motion to rescind the vote and to nullify the RFP. Thank you.
All right, next speaker.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Judge Campbell, Judge Furlong, Commissioner Clark. I'm here today to reiterate the concerns I have raised regarding the RFP process for new voting technology. These concerns were shared with the city commissioners prior to their announced selection of the vendor and their recusal. And I shared these concerns, as you mentioned, Judge Campbell, with the body last week. While I do believe that Philadelphia's current voting technology is outdated, unsafe, and in need of replacement, I don't believe that the process to select this vendor was fair or transparent. Specifically, the RFP was tailored to a system with a digital screen or a ballot marking device. And in doing so, the commissioners ensured that other options, notably hand-marked ballots, would not be considered fairly. And this is important because the hand-marked ballots are the ones that voting security experts consider more secure and reliable. And they were actually considered more secure and reliable in our own state's Blue Ribbon Commission report on election security. So it's a very important factor there. And the RFP was written in a way that made security a yes or no question. But safety is a scale and should have been considered as such. The process also did not incorporate voter feedback in a meaningful way. The selection process did not offer public demonstrations of the potential voting machine options and did not consider this experience as part of the scoring criteria. This is something that other counties in our own state have done. Montgomery County and Berks County both had demonstrations where voters could come and use the different machines and provide feedback. And the largest county, Philadelphia, in the state did not do this. Moreover, the perspective of voters with disabilities wasn't fully considered as part of this process. While disability advocates have stated a preference for touchscreen technology, the PA State Accessibility Examiner for the ES&S Express Vote system, the one that was selected, noted several significant challenges with the system in the certification report, finding that, quote, verification of votes is possible, but challenging, end quote. Ensuring every voter is able to cast their ballot independently is important and should have been considered on its own as part of the scoring criteria, but it wasn't in the RFP. And lastly, we don't know the full cost or the plan for paying the machines. The cost has gone from a range of 25 million to 50 or 60 million in different testimonies. And as of now, there's about 20-some million proposed in the capital budget in front of City Council. It has not been passed yet. So it's not like there's money sitting there ready to be used right now. The RFP process was flawed from the beginning, but you can rectify it. Today I request that this body vacate the commissioner's earlier decision and draft and reissue a new, fair RFP. Please don't deny Philadelphia's voters a true voice in the selection of these machines. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'd just like to say that I do support your recommendation. That's all I can say.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Any further comments? So if there are no further comments, then
I'll make a comment. Just introduce myself. My name is Jamie Mogil. I'm an attorney in private practice, but I also work in the realm of voter rights and election protection. And most recently, I was election protection director for the 2018 midterm cycle. And I'll say that was a nonpartisan group of coalition of partners. I myself worked for Common Cause, but there was the ACLU, the NAACP, the Lawyers Committee, and I also am on the state board for the League of Women Voters. Now, I don't come here today giving testimony on behalf of those groups, but I do want to emphasize that with my experience being in election protection, the problems in Pennsylvania, and particularly Philadelphia, is one of those where it's a systemic issue. It's about long lines, lack of poll workers, and broken down machines. So us, as people who work in voter protection and election protection, we're looking to the decision that was made for new machines, whether that's in Philadelphia or across the Commonwealth. But here, we didn't have that information, right? Because that information wasn't available. And that's not to say we're making an opinion on one machine versus the other. It's really about fairness. It's about fairness in evaluating, was this the best value? Was this the best decision when we go into a campaign cycle, which is going to be even a larger turnout than what we saw? Will we be prepared and be able to evaluate, and that this is not on some kind of rocky foundation, right? Because we simply don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe all these considerations were part of the decision, but we simply don't know. And I think the controller's letter and her request of you is to make sure this is a fair process. Maybe indeed it was. We simply don't know. Were there considerations? We have disability rights groups advocating for a certain machine. Were they given a chance to evaluate? And even more pressing is this fact that there's this lack of transparency, which gives this kind of a, for lack of better words, a stink. How are we going to remove that, to know that when we get down the line in 2020, when we have our next big presidential election and larger voter turnout, though there should be a large turnout for all elections, we want to make sure that we can look back and say, well, look, this was done correctly. This was done through a correct process, and you do certainly have enough time to assure that this process was done fairly. Certainly you don't want to make a potentially $50 million mistake knowing that you didn't evaluate all of the possibilities and let the people know, right, that it should be fair, it should be transparent, that this decision was proper for all, not just Philadelphians. There's much larger implications here, because I think people are looking to what Philadelphia does. You are setting a precedent. And why give people fodder that this wasn't done through a transparent and fair process? So I urge you, please, make sure that it's done through a fair process.
All right. Any other comments before we go to the supervisor?
I'll make this very brief. As you know, I'm Gloria Gilman. I'm the chair of Neighborhood Networks and part of the Protector Voter Coalition. I just ask you that you have listened to this testimony for many weeks now, and you've heard from a lot of different people about how significant this is and what the problems are and what it would take to correct it. But we never get any feedback, and we're asking you, will you make a motion to rescind this vote? Okay, but it could
I
happen
spoke
another
with
day.
city controller this morning, spoke last week, that, at least for myself, sitting as a city commissioner, I'm not ready to make a decision today. Doesn't mean that it's not coming soon.
Thank you.
All right, any other comments? All right, then we'll go to the supervisor's reports. Mr. Lynch.
Good morning, Judge.
No, sorry. All right, any other business? So, this meeting then is adjourned. All right, thank you.